Does Tesla have some serious competition from Jaguar's all-wheel drive luxury crossover, the I-Pace? Find out next. This is Twit.
We're standing out in the parking lot outside the Twit Studios because it's time to look at another car with Sam. Sam Abuelsamid is the senior analyst at Navigant Research, but he's our car guy. I have to say, Sam, when I was in 6th grade, I will never forget it. My friend Joe, his dad, who was a big shot doctor, bought a Jaguar XKE, a 12-cylinder Jaguar with a hood that was bigger than a football field.
Pretty close, yeah.
And it had beautiful mahogany dash and switches. Ever since I've always wanted a Jag. We've got a Jaguar, but this is a little different from Jaguar. This is an electric car.
This is a very different Jaguar. This is the first ever plug-in electric Jaguar.
This is a very different design. First of all, that long hood, that's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Ian Callum, who's the head of design at Jaguar, has explained when talking about this car that since they were doing an electric car, a battery electric car that didn't have an engine in the front, it has an electric motor in the front, but no engine, they wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to do something different with Jaguar Design. So they've got some of the Jaguar Design cues like the grille, the headlights.
Is very Jaguar.
Yeah, and the tail lights. Yeah. And kind of the shape of what they call the greenhouse, which is the glass and the roof area. But everything else is very different. It's this crossover hatchback kind of shape, shorter overhangs, very short front end to maximize the interior room within a relatively small overall size.
What kind of charging system do we have in here?
It has the SAE combo charger. It'll support up to 100 kilowatt charging speeds, so it's pretty much the same as the superchargers. So it'll charge to 80% in about 40 minutes. It's a 90 kilowatt hour battery pack. So currently the Tesla and the Model S and the Model X, the top battery pack size is 100 kilowatts, so it's a little bit smaller.
But mine's a 90. It's not in a bad size. What's the range?
It's about 240 miles.
That's great.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun to drive. For this first generation of the I-Pace, they haven't done things like the ludicrous mode like Tesla has done.
That's fine. I never use that.
But it still has 400 horsepower.
Wow.
It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds.
That's what's unique about electric engines. They have 100% torque right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So they will take off the line pretty quickly.
Right.
You want to take a ride?
Let's do that.
Would you let me drive it?
Sure.
First of all, how much? Before I fall in love.
It starts at $69,500, and that's before the $7,500 federal tax credit.
So you can, of course, deck it out. I mean, this carbon fiber you said costs about $4,300 for just the trim and a stereo system and so forth. You don't have the big screen anymore that I have on my Tesla.
Well, you have two screens here.
So this is a screen.
Yep.
This is a screen.
And this is a screen
and
down
this
here.
Is a screen.
Actually, you also have screens here in the knobs.
Push button start, always like that. Does it have any autopilot or self-driving feature?
It's got adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist.
Which is pretty much all you need.
It also has a revolutionary new technology that you won't find on any Tesla.
What's that?
A rotary volume knob.
Yeah, Tesla's moving the opposite direction. No knobs at all.
Yeah.
All right, so I've pressed the push button start. Now, how do I drive this thing? I don't... Is there a stick shift, or I just use these buttons?
You just press these buttons to put it in drive, neutral,
put it
or
in
reverse.
Drive. Now, how about the one-button drive, where you have regenerative braking as you take your foot off the accelerator? That slows it down. Does this do that?
It does do that. Or you can set it to behave more like a traditional car, where it simulates engine braking. So you get kind of more gradual deceleration when you lift off.
I love those features, and of course that improves your battery life as well.
Absolutely,
because you're charging up the battery as you're slowing down the vehicle. Yep. Great heads-up display here. It's very bright. It's got a lot of information. It's got the speed, but it also has driving information and a speed limit indicator, which is useful for me.
Right. The cameras up here in the front are reading they'll read speed limit signs as you drive down the road, and it'll automatically adjust. So as the speed limit changes, it will change. It'll show you what the current speed limit is in case you missed it.
I'll tell you, it feels like a luxury vehicle. That's one thing I noticed immediately compared to the Tesla. The Tesla's luxury priced, but it's a little bit more of a Spartan cabin. This feels like a Jaguar. This feels pretty nice.
It does, yeah. Jaguar and other European premium brands like Audi and Porsche and Mercedes-Benz are doing the same kind of thing. They're starting to build EVs, but they want to make them so that they fit in with the rest of their lineup.
I also have to say that the controls seem very nice. It's nice to have knobs, nice to have buttons. Maybe there's a lot of them, but I'm sure I'd get used to them pretty quickly. We can see how the passenger seats are arranged here. Some media controls here.
You can swipe through here to get different features.
And I have some really great screens absolutely rivaling the Tesla screen here for the driver. And I love the heads-up display. I think that's really fantastic.
After a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Todd Road.
That's a nice sounding lady. Where do they get their maps, and do they get updated?
They do get updated. I believe that they get their maps from here.
How's the back seat back there? We got Anthony Nielsen in our back. You comfy?
Yeah, plenty of room.
Lots of room.
Yeah.
It has a little bit smaller cargo space than a typical SUV.
Yeah, it's got about 25 cubic feet behind the seats. So, that's enough for, if you've got two couples, a family of four going on a trip, you've got enough room back there for 4 carry-on bags and some other assorted stuff. So, it's got plenty for most people's needs. And then you can always fold down the back seats too if you need to carry bigger stuff.
Alcantara on the steering wheel, Alcantara everywhere. Is this also standard, or did you pay extra for the steering wheel?
That's extra. I can't remember how much it is.
You said you like Alcantara steering wheels.
I do.
I may be more of a leather fan, classic Jaguar look, but hey, this is pretty sweet. A really nice, smooth ride.
You can also change the drive mode from eco to comfort to dynamic mode, which is the sporty mode. Mm-hmm. So when you're going out, into some twisty roads, it can, it'll flatten things out a little bit, give you a little bit quicker acceleration response. And there's also an air spring suspension system, so you can raise and lower the car.
Dual motor, single motor?
Dual motors, one in the front, one in the back, about 200 horsepower each. That's the only configuration they have right now. At some point, I suspect Jaguar will probably introduce a performance-oriented version, just as they do with all their other models. They'll probably have an R version, and that'll probably have somewhere over 500, I would guess.
Could we try the self-driving features?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it self-driving.
Okay.
It's driver assist.
Driver assist?
So
that's a much better, even for the Tesla, much more apt description.
Absolutely. So you can just tap this up here, tap it up, push.
It's like
push
a cruise control.
Yeah,
all right.
So that's your adaptive cruise control. So you can see the green
set
on the
speed limit, and I can turn that up if I want, right?
Yeah, it's full stop and go adaptive cruise. So if you're driving in traffic, if the car in front of you comes to a complete stop,
I love that.
This will come to a complete stop. Yeah, I love it for driving in traffic.
If you have to drive in traffic and you don't have this
here, that'll turn on the
lanes.
It won't activate till you're a little bit higher speed though.
Well, we'll go on the highway. How about that?
Sure.
Let's see what the acceleration's like. Here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah. That feels great.
Is that enough for you?
It's plenty. I don't feel like I'm going to black out, which I always did with insane mode. But here I am.
But fortunately, it has autopilot, so it doesn't matter to black out.
I'm matching.
That's the real reason they did autopilot.
I'm matching traffic speed just fine, and I think this is great. Within a second or two, I'm right up to speed. I think that's all you really need. So I'm going to press this button to turn on the lane assistance now, and what'll happen?
Really, what it's doing is
I can't take my hands off the wheel.
You're not supposed to take your hands off the wheel. Yeah, you have to steer. If you start to drift out, you'll feel a little rumble in the steering wheel, and it'll give you an alert, and it'll kind of nudge you back. But it's not a self-steering system. It's not like the Cadillac that we drove last spring.
So you've been driving this. You've had a chance to drive it yesterday all over the coast, beautiful Northern California coast. What do you think?
I like it a lot. I haven't driven the Model X, but I've driven the S a couple of different times, and Teslas accelerate really fast, but they haven't necessarily been known for great handling. This one drives much more like a Jaguar. It doesn't have the sound of a Jag, obviously, but it has a very dynamic ride. And one of the interesting things that Jaguar is doing with marketing this vehicle is the I-Pace E-Trophy series that's going to run alongside the Formula E series, and they're going to have 20 I-Paces that are basically stock powertrain, but they're just gutting the interior, putting roll cages in and racing seats. And part of what they want to do with that is demonstrate that this is more of a performance-oriented electric vehicle, all-around performance rather than just straight-line acceleration.
I tell you, this was top of the list for electric vehicles for me to look at. I've already decided I'm never going to buy a gas engine again. I love electric vehicles. I like the Tesla because of the predominance of supercharging stations, but as we get more standard charging stations and fast charging stations for this kind of car, that's really eliminated that concern for me.
By next summer, Electrify America, which is the division of Volkswagen Group that's doing the charging network, will have about 500 stations in place with DC fast charging. And they're following a similar kind of model to what Tesla did with the superchargers, that they're putting them all across the country along all the major highways. So there'll be a station about every 140 miles or so. And it'll be accessible to everything that uses the standard charging connector that is the one that Tesla doesn't use.
Right. Is there any worry about these kind of mainstream car companies going into electrics that they're not fully committed, that they may abandon it, or
no, not at all. In fact, one of the interesting trends I saw at the LA Auto Show is every new platform that's coming out, what they're doing is they are what they call package protecting for electrification. So even if it's coming out with a gas engine powertrain, when they design it, they are making sure that they incorporate space for batteries for either hybrid or plug-in or battery electric. So like the new Lincoln Aviator that was revealed, that platform, which is also going to be used for the new Explorer next spring, is package protected, and it can actually accommodate up to a full battery electric.
And that's because of the regulatory environment, right? I mean, there are countries where you won't be able to buy a gas vehicle.
Yeah. Every major automaker, is a global operator now. Right. So, regardless of what the policies, the current administration policies are, they still have to design vehicles that can be sold in other markets. In China, China especially, because that's the biggest market, and they're really pushing hard for plug-ins.
Well, Sam, as always, thank you for bringing us a great vehicle. I'm very impressed with Jaguar's first all-electric, the I-Pace. It was fun to drive. It works like a charm. They have a lot of nice. Oh, look, it even lowered itself as I'm about to get out.
Yep.
That's a good thing for a man of my advanced years. Thank you, Sam. Sam Abuelsamid is the senior analyst at Navigant and always brings us some of the greatest cars. This is the Jaguar I-Pace. Fun to drive. Nice car. Thanks, Sam.
Anytime, Leo.
Keep up with all the hottest tech news and gadgets. Visit twit.tv. There you'll be able to find and subscribe to all our tech shows. Thanks for watching Hands on Tech.